Joining me this evening, like I already mentioned, my good friend Trey from the Dog House podcast. Trey, welcome into enemy territory, my friend. You were so gracious to let me talk about the Buckeyes down in your neck of the woods. It's only fair that I bring you back on to talk about Georgia up here in Ohio. Tell everybody who you are, where they can find you, and follow you, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. First off, hey, professionally done a little intro there. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are the Doghouse podcast. Also, look for the Georgia label because there are some other similar ones on YouTube. We are on the Doghouse Talk on Instagram, and we're on Doghouse Podcast on Twitter and Spotify as well.
All right. Tyler's already given you a welcome. So
Thank you.
it's starting off cordial. Usually, if we do these things and it's pre-recorded, we don't have to worry about the chat. But I wanted to do this in live. Let's do it live. All right. So I sent Trey a series of questions. We've got a lot to get into, and I want to let the chat know you're going to have your opportunity to ask Trey some questions tonight as well. So feel free to throw those in the chat. I'll try to star those if they're a good one that catch my attention. The best way that you can get your comment read and or your question asked is to submit it as a super chat. That way I don't miss it because sometimes when we get a lot more people in here, the comments can start flying and I get a little lost, especially when I'm doing a one-on-one interview. So you submit it as a super chat, guaranteed to get asked or commented and read aloud tonight. That being said, I've got some things we need to dive into. So let's start here. Kirby Smart. We just did a poll here, Trey, on with my co-hosts talking about where Ryan Day is at nationally when it comes to the best coaches in college football, and he's either one or two, with the other one being Kirby Smart. How do and that's how we Ohio State fans view your head coach. How do Georgia fans view Kirby Smart now, 3 years removed from back-to-back national championships?
Yeah, still still really like him a whole lot. I will say, the last 2 years, because the expectations are really high going, kind of an early first loss in the college football playoffs, stung a little bit, but we did win the SEC championship game, and we still think he's, best coach we've ever had. We'll enjoy each year we have with him. We hope he stays another 10, 15 years. Not sure how long that'll be, but answer your question, still very, very happy with Kirby Smart, and we feel like he's the best fit and best option we have currently.
So, you go back to back.
Mm-hmm.
You win that. You still win the SEC championship. And I've heard a lot of people on the radio, especially when you bring in Paul Feinbaum, for some reason gets on the radio up here all the time. I don't know. I don't know how his ears maybe they stretch into this area code or something. I don't know.
Paul.
Paul. The way he said it is the SEC championship means just as much to the people down here in the South, he said, as almost just as much as the national championship. Is that true?
I say years ago it used to be, but now it's getting not as relevant. I hate to see it. As an example from last year, Georgia wins SEC championship game. They're ranked third in the college football playoff rankings. Alabama ranked ninth. Didn't move either way. Alabama didn't move, neither did we. So I'm almost getting to the point, and I'm always telling my mom, who's diehard, she's about knows as much as I am, that might need to skip that game going forward. See where the seeding is, maybe be that fifth, sixth seed. Also, the last 2 years having early outs. I want to not have that 3-week layoff because we're coming in rusty, kind of slow in these games. So I wouldn't mind skipping the SEC championship game, maybe 10-2, being that fifth, sixth seed, maybe even getting a first round home game, kind of going from there because it's all about winning a national title and making college football playoffs. Hate to say that, but that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's the era we live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely the era we live in now, and I think that makes perfect sense when you stop and you think about it, even from a Ohio State perspective. I mean, I mean, not to poo-poo your end of the year rivalry with Georgia Tech, but it's not a rivalry when you compare it to Ohio State and the scum up north.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go to the mattresses saying that that's the greatest rivalry in sports. Although when you cheat to win in that rivalry, kind of kinds of puts a dent into it. But you look at that aspect of it, and there's even people up here talking, Trey, like if it's so important to get to the playoffs healthy, and if your seeding's almost already guaranteed, do you start to sit players in that game? Can you imagine a world where you're sitting starters in an SEC championship game? I mean, it's you start to think about it, and you're admitting it. It's like, is the fifth seed even better at this point?
It is. I would say I don't see Kirby Smart quite doing that. It might get in his thought because he's always said, "Hey, that's always been the goal. SEC championship is such well respected around those around at least down here in the South." So I don't see him quite doing that, but it could cross his mind if it's like, "Hey, we don't want to get, for example, Gunnar Stockton, one of our starting running backs, or O lineman or D lineman hurt in that game." I could see him maybe shifting some guys around if they're up, of course, but that is a great question. So I'm gonna go back to, hey, just let's skip it totally. Let's let Texas and Alabama beat each other up, and we'll get a better seeding because it's not a sprint anymore; it's a marathon.
That's a great line. It's not a sprint anymore; it's a marathon. It really is. It's a NFL light schedule now.
It is.
You got those 12 games, and then if you're gonna play four playoff games, now you're up to 16. So gosh, I mean, it is. It's a marathon for sure. Do you believe Georgia has the best roster in 2026? Again, I'm leaning on what a lot of people are saying. They're bringing a lot of talent back. It might be one of the most experienced rosters in the SEC. Kirby's recruited well. He's developed well. Is this the best roster in college football, in your opinion?
We'll probably pump the brakes on that. I think we got a lot of depth and a lot of returning, but there are some question marks. I'm sure we'll get into that later. For example, I think our wide receiver and core is really unproven. We lost 6 of our 7 top pass catchers. So I'm gonna say that to kind of get you to where we want to be is a question mark. Also, Gunner had a great year, but he did have times where he looked a little like, sluggish and lost and tuck the ball a little more. I hope he's able to improve and look better next year. And then we might get in a little later. A lot of diehard Georgia fans are not big on Mike Bobo, but he's not going anywhere. He's well entrenched. Didn't know till recently, like even for the spring game, he had one of his sons, his like fifth, sixth string QB. I didn't even realize, and his current starting center, Drew Bobo, is there. So I don't see him going anywhere. That's a whole other question: is do we like Mike Bobo, or we're kind of stuck with him? Got to deal with him, as we say. So he's one that might keep us away from where we want to be as well.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that Travis Shuttleworth coming in with a little revisionist history there with Carson Beck. We talked a little bit about Carson Beck. Feel free as a Georgia fan. Listen, as Ohio State fans, when quarterbacks leave our program, we relish in the fact that they don't win. So give me your Carson Beck take as a Georgia fan. Trey, I've heard this before. It's good.
Yeah, so first off, no ill will. I didn't want anything physically to happen to him, but my prediction last year going into it is I was like, Miami. First off, no defense coming off that Cam Ward year. That was their Achilles. I was like, they're lucky to go 8-4. So we'll give it to him. He did a little better than I thought, and I thought like, all right, him coming off that injury, he might go 5th, 7th round, unrestricted free agent, just coming off that Georgia year and the injury. But all is good in the world. Didn't win a Heisman. Didn't win a national title. Threw a pick to lose the national championship. All is good in the world. So, hey, Miami spending $4 million. Hope you were happy with it. They did get you better than you thought. But, yeah, all is good in the world. So, I'm happy. And 3rd round pick going to Arizona Cardinals. Good luck. And he's single. I think some Latinos got him in trouble with his Miami
Uh-oh.
Green. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Tabloids.
Mhm.
What are the expectations for the Dogs this season, Trey? It's got to be up there, man, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping at least win one playoff game, unlike the last two where we had early outs. And I could see, with our roster, we do have a lot of expectations. I'm hoping at least make the win one game, maybe make the final four somewhere in there. I'm gonna pump the brakes because I don't like saying national championship or bust. I'm gonna say that 10-2, 11-1, and it's just how healthy can we be and where we're at heading into the playoffs is what I'm looking at. And skip the SC championship game, like we mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's funny. You asked me the same questions about expectations for Ohio State. I feel like ours are exactly the same for our programs. Just, survive, get into the playoffs, be healthy. A lot of people who have the national championship or bust mentality, I'm like, I don't know how they enjoy seasons. Ohio State's won 9 national championships. They've been playing football for 150 plus years. That means 140 years of football of ending the season disappointed. Um, and I'm a little worried, Trey, I don't know how you feel. I'm a little worried that the playoffs is kind of creating that mentality in fan bases where, you look at a team like, let's just take Northwestern, for instance. 7-5, you go to a bowl game and you win it and you go 8-5. Man, that fan base they are ecstatic for you. It's like, great year, guys.
Mhm.
Give the extension over there to Braun, man. I don't know, like, when you get up to the upper echelon of college football, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, you get up to this level. Dare I say, Indiana now. I just don't think you can look at this thing and say championship or bust. I think that's stealing so much joy of what college football's meant to be for you as a fan. You agree?
I agree with that. For example, just beating some of our rivals last year, Florida. And the big one that made the year for me, and I was like, even if we win this, lose the SC championship game early out, is we finally beat the crap out of Alabama. So that was so sweet because we've had to hear about that for years. Kirby 1-8, now he's 2-8. So that pretty much made the year for me, even though we lost to Ole Miss, stung a little bit. So just winning some of those rivalry games, and for example, it's been over 2,000 days since Florida's beaten Georgia. There's the Gator Hater countdown on Dog Nation Daily, one of our things. So stuff like that to me, and just being a diehard Georgia fan is enjoying those wins and beating the rivals. And I'm just getting to the point. Hey, we won 2 national championships. That was a bucket list for me, and just enjoy the ride. I mean, it still sucks when we lose, but just enjoying those, in-season games is where I'm at.
Yeah, man. Enjoy the journey, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I'm sitting here listening to you talk about your program, and I'm realizing how similar Ohio State and Georgia is. I mean, you think about Ohio State, and a lot of ways it felt like after we beat the team up north last year, we achieved the number one goal, and it was kind of like, okay, I guess we're going to lose the next two. It's like almost like a letdown after that, which is an interesting perspective. So yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities there um, between the two programs. It's interesting to analyze that.
Yeah.
I just want to say to the chat guys, keep throwing your questions in there. I'm trying my best to keep track of them and star them for later on. So feel free to keep throwing those in there. But the whole end of this show is going to be your opportunity to ask Trey questions. Let's go with my final Georgia question on this year. I want you to dive into the roster for me a little bit. What are the strengths and weaknesses of this team in your mind in 2026?
Definitely, first off, start with QB1, Gunnar Stockton. He finished, I believe it's seventh or eighth in the Heisman. He'll be back another year, so we're really excited about him. I hope he can make some of his mid-range throws he can improve on in the offseason. That was one. Also, maybe don't tuck it and run as much because, as we know, you're one shot away from a big injury. And then also, if he can just maybe not stare down as like first or second or season. You go through his progressions. So I'm excited about him, and he gets it'll be his second full season of having the keys to the car, as they say. So I'm excited about him. Running back, very deep there. I'm excited about them. Nate Frazier coming back, Chauncey Bowens, they're going to be your 1-2. Also picked up in the portal. He had a good spring break. Dante Dowell, he's going to be kind of the big bruiser back from Kentucky. And we got some other younger guys excited about that. O-line, I believe we've got about 4 or 5 of the guys back. I hope we get Drew Bobo back off a foot injury. He might miss first couple of games at center. He was like the of course the motor going in. They were not the same after he went down with a foot injury. So having him back, we're going to be good on the O-line. Defense is going to be a lot better. We're going to be really good in the secondary with Ellis Robinson, and another one's going to be KJ Bolden. He should be All-American at safety. Going to have some really good guys on the D-line. Elijah Griffin is another big name. They're going to be loaded at linebacker depth. Justin Williams, Chris Cole, and of course Raylan Williams. Where I'm questioning things is going to be at wide receiver. Maybe I mentioned earlier you're losing 6 to 7 pass catchers. Our leading wide receiver comebacks is London Humphreys. But a big name who everybody's been waiting on is Talon Taylor. He's the kid, unfortunately, who dropped the wide open pass in the Alabama game. Everybody remembers that. But he's a 5-star coming in. Zacoby White-Hilton is going to replace Zachariah Branch. It's going to be a big task, but he's going to be a big go-to there. And then we got Isaiah Canyon, Georgia Tech wide receiver transfer. He's going to be really good. And another one is we're loaded at tight end. Elias Williams, who looks almost like a Gronk-type player. I don't want to throw that name around, but he's going to be a matchup problem. Lawson Lucky, a lot of experience. Ethan Barbour is returning from a really bad ankle foot injury. We're gonna have a lot of 13, 14 personnel I could see. And then another name is he was a 5-star coming in. Caden Prothro, 6'6". He's almost got a tight end body, but I believe you're going to use him in the slot. That's another one I'm really interested on. Special teams getting nitpicky there. We lost Brent Thorson to the pros. He was a really good kicker. We got a guy, Drew Miller, who's highly recruited, and we've got Peyton Woodring, our place kicker, coming back, who was really accurate. So that's kind of where we're at, and I'm excited. We got a lot of depth, the way you mentioned. I believe we've got like top 5, top 10 snaps on each side of the ball returning. So got a lot of experience.
Yeah, RDCB. We don't want any 13 or 14 personnel around here. Again, I'm telling you, Georgia and Ohio State, there's a lot in common going on between these two programs, man. Someone asked about the schedule. I dropped that in there for you all to take a look at there real fast. So taking a look at this schedule, you guys got on the docket, old Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. I love them guys. They talk about a great podcast, man. Topper Talk. Great podcast. You're going to love working with those guys.
Definitely have to have them on.
Tennessee State's coming to town. Arkansas's on the docket. Oklahoma, Vandy, Alabama. Alabama that's an away game, looks like.
That's right.
Auburn at home. Florida there. That's a neutral site game every year. The world's biggest cocktail party, I believe, is what you all call that.
That's right.
Ole Miss, gonna have to go over there to Ole Miss. Boy, they're taking some strays right now, man. My goodness. Missouri, South Carolina, Georgia Tech. You said 10-2. Where's the 2 at on that, bro?
First one I'm going to go to. They got a lot returning back. It's going to be. I could see it being a scrappy defensive game.
Oklahoma.
Could be, even though it's home, is Oklahoma.
Yep.
At Alabama, just because of the history. Can't always got to put up that game. Ole Miss has given us all kind of problems. I know beat us last year. You got Trinidad Chambliss, and that's on the road. That could be a tough one. Another one they always play us hard is going to be at Willie B at South Carolina, and that would be some of the ones. So that's why I said 11-1, 10-2 in there, just trying to be more realistic. But that's the ones. Florida with the new coach. I mean, they're always scrappy, but we've handled them recently. So I'd say that's maybe the landmines, as they say.
I wouldn't mind that schedule for Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State's schedule is brutal. It is a brutal schedule this year. We're gonna earn it, man. Absolutely gonna earn it. All right, let's talk SEC. Let's do it. Let's get off of Georgia for a hot minute and talk about the good old SEC. Um, you probably saw the notes and you laughed at this question. I want to hear your take on it though, because some of the reasoning I'm getting behind why the Big Ten has won the last 3 years the national championship and not an SEC team. The SEC hasn't even been in the championship game. I want to hear your take, Trey. How do you explain the Big Ten success over the SEC the last 3 years?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to, we all know they beat a dead horse. NIL and transfer portal has taken the whole landscape. So I think you guys, maybe with the Fox network, has had more money, NIL, and you guys have really focused on the premium positions. For example, you guys always have elite wide receivers, always have elite defensive line, and your quarterbacks you've been good everywhere. And then Indiana, bringing this whole new formula and everything of using like older players, putting culture in there, and then you guys having really good top heavy, and then your lesser teams. So I would say just NIL, maybe even better coaching staffs than the SEC. And I think, as we know, we kind of beat each other up. Even though if you look in the bowl games, I know everybody maybe sits out, opts out, and everything. SEC's been bad in bowl games because I'm always like, man, you're not representing really well there. So I just go back to NIL, donor buy-in, better coaching in the last 3 years. You got to give it to you guys 3 straight. This is a trend, so all respect to the Big Ten. But it might even come down to we're taking a little bit of a step back. We're not what we used to be, to be honest.
Great. Have you ever gone to the game and chanted SEC?
I have not. I'm
Thank
not,
you.
I'm not one of those.
You are a good man.
I'm not.
What do you think about that? Doesn't that feel like something that lesser programs do as a way to be like, hey man, we're in the club?
So Eric, I have some diehard. There's a guy, Scott. I call him Buckeye Scott. We're diehard. We texted for years, and he's always like, SEC thinks they're better because he's always like, it means more. It means more. It means more. Always in text chain. So that's what it is. Because it means more. I don't know if it means more anymore. Losing and not having a national championship in a while. So yeah, that's where it is.
Trey be like, I ain't answered the question on chanting, man.
Yeah, I'm not.
I guess SEC is a whole lot easier to chant than Go Big Ten or something stupid like that. But it's funny because as an Ohio State fan, we get to the postseason, and it's generally true. We will root for each other, other than your rival. Like, I got good friends who are Nebraska fans, and they're always like, hey, man, go get them this weekend. And then, good luck to you in the playoffs or whatever. And then they're like, we hope Iowa crashes and burns and gets beat by whatever, because that's their big rival, right? Same's true if you talk to Michigan State fans. They're like, hey, man, we want the Big Ten to win every single game in the postseason except for that other team from Ann Arbor. We hope they lose. So it's funny how we will root for each other, but then when it comes to your rival, it's like we could care less. We want them to lose. So
I did enjoy Indiana kicking the crap out of Alabama. I loved that, actually.
I
enjoyed that one.
That was demasculating, is what that was.
It was.
I feel like that sent Alabama backwards several years before Nick Saban got there. Like, that was, if they don't bounce back this year, that's going to be a tough place to be. But here's the thing. They gave that guy an extension.
That's what I was about to say. What did you think about that coming from neutral? All that. 8-5, and then early out, not beating, and you give him this huge contract. What's your thoughts on it? I thought it was way too soon.
Yeah, definitely. But I kind of hope it blows up in their face and they got to sit in it. Yeah. I think that would be really humble. I'd be a giant piece of humble pie for that fan base. Mm-hmm. But because they have experienced the spoils of war more than anybody else in college football. More, twice. Paul Bear Bryant and then Nick Saban, having the two greatest football coaches in college football. Not once, but twice
Yeah.
in different eras. Like, come on. Give me a break, right? So, yeah, I look at that, and it's kind of like I want them to experience what it's like to be a college football fan, be good and not great. Get there and then have no success. Alabama, if they start to be the Alabama that you just mentioned, 8-4, 8-5, you know who they are? They're Penn State at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They are. Ooh,
And
I don't want to hear that.
no, they would not, but that would be, that would be the truth. And you look at the landscape of the SEC right now. I'm taking Kirby Smart. I'm taking Lane Kiffin
Mm-hmm.
before I'm taking DeBoer.
Yep.
I might even take one of these other young guys coming up if they can show me in the next couple years if they can build a program to compete with that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Alabama to me is they can go keep losing for all I care. It's time to get some better color red in the landscape there.
If you want must watch, you mentioned him earlier. SEC Nation, or wherever you get it, is on Mondays. The call-in show after an Alabama loss. All the Alabama are whining on there. That's much watch if you just want to see some crying in your beer. Awesome. Like after that Florida
Oh,
State loss, there was some epic rants
oh
after
yeah,
that game. Anyway,
oh yeah. I I gotta hand it to Paul Feinbaum taking some of those phone calls that he does on his program. Paul Feinbaum.
yeah, oh yeah,
And I forget the name of the drunk Alabama fan who's been made popular now on social media. He's got 3 brain cells left, but
yeah.
yeah, I forget his name. All we care about is running the football and roll tide. I forget that guy's name. Willie. I think his name's Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to me the quintessential Alabama fan.
Yeah.
When I see Willie, I'm like, there they are. All right, enough Bama talk. How does Greg Sankey work? Who does Greg Sankey work for? The SEC ADs or ESPN in your mind?
That was a good question. Actually, I did a little research on it. I'm gonna say ESPN because we have that contract with them. It's all about matchups and doing what's the best for them. I don't agree with like some of the things that he's had supposedly or that he's done. So I'm gonna go. He is covert operation with the ESPN.
So he's got a Disney phone in his office,
That's
Mickey
right.
Mouse phone, and he picks up talks
That's right.
to ESPN. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? Because all these talks of moving the playoff to 24 teams, which most of us fans hate.
Exactly.
But, he's sitting here and it's like he's fighting to say no. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm glad, but why? And then, the whole reasoning why he doesn't want to, in case people don't know this, is ESPN would then lose playoff rights. Right now, they own the rights to all the playoff. But
Yeah.
if this thing expands beyond that, then Fox is going to be able to show playoff games. NBC, CBS are going to get their foot in the door. And now all of a sudden, ESPN doesn't have a monopoly on the CFP. And so that's why he's fighting against this 2014 playoff. Now, I hate it. I think it's dumb to go to 24. I really do.
Mhm.
If you got to expand the thing, let's go to 16 and
Yep.
end it there.
Yep.
Like I cannot even number of games. Everybody's champion's going to have to play 4, I guess it is. This is not the NCAA basketball tournament where everybody gets a seat at the table. It is watering down
Mhm.
the regular season. You agree?
I agree. Totally agree with him. With you, I kind of wish it would have stayed at 12. I wouldn't have minded rewinding, going back to maybe 4 to slowly to 8. That was a big jump to me. So I'm definitely with it. It'll be watered down. The whole in-game rivalries and everything won't be the same. It'll be basically, hey, you're 8-4, you can make playoffs. Roughly 9-3, definitely.
If it's 2014 playoff, Trey, we're never not going to make the playoffs.
Exactly. Are you?
I mean, we're going to be in every single year. And it's like, okay, then, how many of these 12 games during the regular season are we really invested in at that point?
Exactly.
It just, yeah, I agree. Would you truly be happy with the SEC playing its own playoff and crowning its own champion without other conference participation? That is something that is just seems like it's making its rounds this offseason quite a bit from people in the South, like being like, hey, let's get the ACC to join us down here. We'll have a regional championship. We'll crown our own national champion.
I'm more of a traditionalist. I don't like that at all. Even though I'm kind of with you, it's probably going to it's going to be NFL light, is where they make big huge conferences be like, I don't know, 32 in each one, and they end up playing each other. I don't like where it's going, so I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that one. But it's going to be interesting. These off-season talks. I guess we can thank ESPN and Sankey from preventing this 24 playoff from happening sooner rather than later. But it's going to happen, and I'm with you, Trey. We are moving to the SEC and the Big Ten being the AFC and the NFC.
Yep.
It's what's going to happen. And when it's all said and done, what's really going to be funny is that if the Big Ten ends up getting 32 teams, they're going to split East and West or something, and the Pac-12 is going to be back together again. Yeah. It's like the whole gang's going to be back together again. It's like, why'd we even do this to begin with here, guys? It's like, it's crazy how we had to, kind of go the long way around and all the uncomfortableness of changing college football to get back to where we began. And the only thing different is the postseason. Bowl games have been, relegated to playoff games, I guess, now. But interesting. So there's your SEC takes.